Hello again. In the year ending June 2023, a total of 180,218 people were granted British citizenship, with all that this entails. They passed a simple test, swore allegiance to the King, and, hey presto, were transformed into citizens who are, at least in theory, as British as I am. It is, of course, a nonsense. I have had an opportunity to observe this process close up, as my neighbours are Bulgarian. Well, I suppose that I should say that they were Bulgarian. The year before last, they miraculously became British. I'm bound to say that outwardly little appears to have changed. The family had absolutely no connection with this country before they were given British passports, and they still do not. This is very different for me, of course. Near here in Essex, is a hamlet called Lambourne End. When I was a child, my family used to get the bus from Milford and we would have picnics there. My own mother used to go to Lambourne End in the 1920s with her Sunday school. It's a favoured location for Sunday school outings. My neighbours have no connections of this kind locally at all. I remember coming to concerts at what used to be Loughton Technical College round the corner from here in the late 1960s, and my sister's boyfriend came from Debden. He was a pupil at Campion's, the Catholic school in Romford. I have quite a few other memories and connections with this area. My neighbours, not unnaturally, have none. Since getting British passports, they still speak Bulgarian at home, even to their children. All their visitors and friends are Bulgarian, and when they go abroad, it is always back to Bulgaria. The truth is that they're no more British than I am Bulgarian. This is no more than a simple fact, and I haven't the least doubt that they would agree with me if I asked them. I've lived in another country for the same length of time that they have lived in Britain, and even if I had been granted a passport by that country, it would not really have changed who I am. I would still have been British. I think most of us understand this, really. Nevertheless, every year in this country we pretend that a couple of 100,000 foreigners are, in some mysterious fashion, transmuted into British citizens. In the part of Essex in which I live, this is especially noticeable, and walking the streets of Debden and Loughton, you are as likely to hear Bulgarian or Romanian being spoken as you are English. Many of these people now hold British passports, but they are seriously not at all British. I wonder if viewers have ever asked themselves how other countries handle the business and how we might fare if we went trotting off to Saudi Arabia, say, or a neighbouring state of Saudi like Qatar, and tried to become citizens there. How easy would it be, do you suppose? Well, taking the Gulf state of Qatar as an example, gaining citizenship there would first require 25 years residence. You would also need to be fluent in Arabic and convert to Islam. In Saudi, the requirements are even stricter. Looking at Africa, in Liberia, only black people are eligible to be citizens. As a white person, I couldn't ever become a citizen of Liberia, and that's that. Nigeria is a little more easygoing, but 15 years residence is still needed before you can even put in your application. I am curious to know why Britain makes it all so much easier to become a citizen of the country. Even without becoming a citizen, it's possible to apply for indefinite leave to remain, which means that you can live, work and claim benefits in this country, literally forever until the day you die. This too is very different from most countries. Generally, if you're living in someone else's country, you'll need to keep renewing your visa or residence permit if you want to remain there, typically every 3 months or so. This tends to keep you on your toes, of course, and serves to remind you that the country can chuck you out any time they wish. All they need to do is not renew your residence permit and out you go. This actually happened to me at one time. From that perspective, Britain is without doubt a soft touch, and this goes some way towards explaining why we have so many foreigners in the country. Depending upon your point of view, of course, this might not be a bad thing, but it is undeniably true that the country now has more foreigners in it than at any time in the last 1,000 years or so. Whether that's good or bad, it's certainly the case. Other countries do not make it too easy to remain there unless you are a tourist or very wealthy. Britain is unusual in that we offer a general invitation for people to stay in our country, regardless of how well off they are or where they come from. Many of us see distinct disadvantages to such a state of affairs.